Okay, we're live. So this is going to be our character creation segment here. The prelude that lasted for 3 sessions is now over, and during that prelude we wanted to use generic wolf stats for Rogier's character because we didn't want to go and create the full-on character sheet of a werewolf when we were still playing regular wolves, so that it wouldn't like shackle us in terms of storytelling opportunities and such, where we would have to look that, oh, okay, you want this and this in your character sheet, we better include that in the prelude stuff. So now that the prelude is over and the next time you're going to see Rogier's character is going to be in the actual campaign that's going to take place later on, this is a good point to just throw away those generic wolf stats and go into making the full-on character sheet. And I'm going to explain point by point what we're doing here, so that anybody who's never played Werewolf or never played a World of Darkness game or never played a role-playing game for that matter can follow and get what we're doing here. So let's just start filling it up from the upper left corner there and go in order. The first things in the upper left corner there are the character's name, the player's name, and the name of the chronicle. Now, werewolves don't have regular names like people do. Like if you watch the Prelude, there were side characters like North Star, like Oxspear, like Good Death and Steel Cave, and these kind of Native American style names that you get based on things you've done or your personality and such, type of things. Yeah, Rogier, any character name ideas so far?
I have, and don't act surprised because I already ran it past you.
Um,
No,
Way to break the illusion.
yeah, sorry. My character is going to be named Curious Mind.
Curious Mind. Okay, I'm pretty sure that during this time of you being in the battleground realm, maybe somebody who's been tutoring you, since everybody's kind of been taking turns to tutor you there, somebody must have named you that or called you, and maybe then it stuck, and everybody decided to call you that from there on, just like a nickname would or something like that. If somebody's a human-born werewolf, they're of course born with an actual name, but they still in the werewolf community they use their werewolf name that's been given later on. And if somebody's a wolf-born werewolf like you, when you go into human communities and such, you'll just take on an alias, a fake human name to just use. And yeah, but the majority of the time, and to every other werewolf, you're going to be known as Curious Mind. And then the next thing is the player's name, which is self-explanatory. It's your name. So after that, there's the chronicle, and it's kind of funny because I've done 3 videos before this about filling up a character sheet in a given game, and in each of the videos I've progressed when it comes to naming the chronicle. In the first video I'm like, well, some people like to name their chronicle, I never name my chronicle, and in the next video it's like, well, I guess it's okay if some people like to do it, to each his own, and in the third one I'm like, well, sometimes I like to name my chronicle. Screw it, we're naming the chronicle. And it's going to be called Sveriges Elite, meaning Sweden's elite, because this game is set in medieval Sweden. So just write it down there, and it's nothing that game related. It's just like naming a book or naming a movie or something like that. I'm not going to call it like Trouble in the Misty Mountains, because once people start dying around you, it's like, I wonder if we should research the Misty Mountains. So it's something vague enough, where it doesn't spoil anything.
The evil guy is Oxspear. Oh my!
Yeah. But then we move on. Then there's this is hard. Yeah, there. Next is breed, auspice, and tribe. Now, breed means what you were born as. Were your parents, one of your parents a werewolf and one a actual wolf, and then therefore you were born a wolf, like Rogier's character, like Curious Mind was, or was one of your parents a werewolf and one was a human, where you were born as a human, and when you reach puberty, you become a werewolf, or were both of your parents werewolves, in which case you would be born as a metis, a deformed and sterile and socially shunned and hated abomination, basically, in the eyes of medieval werewolves. But I made a character creation restriction not to allow players play metis werewolves because of the tribe that we're going to be playing in, and I'm going to get to that later. But yeah, Curious Mind in the prelude was clearly born out of the union between a werewolf and a regular wolf. So that means your character's breed is lupus, meaning wolf-born.
I actually have a question on that, probably something other players will wonder as well. Does it automatically mean, because wolves usually have more than one child at a time, does it mean that my brothers and sisters are automatically kinfolk?
Yeah, it does. Every child a werewolf has with a human or a wolf, they automatically become kinfolk, and through luck, one of them, or perhaps even two of them, turn out to be werewolves. But you'll only know that once the first change happens when you reach puberty. So yeah, all of your kinfolk allies and such that you would gain during your lifetime are, the children of werewolves who never wound up becoming werewolves themselves.
And is the chance of somebody becoming a werewolf bigger if a werewolf mates with a kinfolk? Or is it actually the only way to get werewolves?
No, the chances become bigger. There are some other changing breeds where you require a kinfolk like that. For example, the weresharks cannot breed with humans unless they breed with a human wereshark kinfolk. To make it sound confusing, but basically, yeah, there has to be like a double dosage for the weresharks in order to have a human-born wereshark. And but with werewolves and almost every other were animal, it just makes it much more likely that the child is going to be a werewolf.
Excellent. So I filled in lupus.
Okay. Next we go into Auspice, and Auspice simply means what moon you were born under. The moon plays a very important role in the werewolf society and cosmology and such. So it's only natural that for them, your role in their society is determined by the moon you were born under. Were you born under the new moon, the crescent moon, the half moon, the gibbous moon, or the full moon? And in game terms, that means that if you were born under the new moon, you're going to be a ragabash. And the ragabash are the rogues and the contrarians, in the werewolf society. If you're born under the crescent moon, you are a thurge. A thurge is the shamans and the keepers of spirits and lore and that sort of stuff, intermediaries with the spirit world and the physical. If you were born under the half moon, you are a philodox, who are the judges and the ponderers of morals and laws and history and all these things. They are the leaders in most cases. If you were born under the gibbous moon, you are a galliard, who are these bardic keepers of tradition and ritual and all these gatherings and moods and celebrations where you talk history, where you talk legend. The galliards are in charge there. And finally, the full moon is an ahron, and if you are an ahron, you are a warrior. And you already decided before we played the the prelude that you would want to play a third character, a crescent moon werewolf who is a shaman.
Yep.
So yeah, that's what you will write there. The auspice space that your character is a thurge.
Check.
Okay, and then we go into tribe, and tribe is where I laid down a character creation restriction. I decided the tribe for the players. Every player in this game is going to be of the same tribe, which is the Fenrir tribe. The Get of Fenris for those who have played only Werewolf the Apocalypse. Because in the modern day, there's lots of solidarity between the tribes and that sort of stuff. Contrary to that, in the medieval times where this game is set, there is none of that. The werewolf tribes are very regional, and they, in most cases, are in war with each other. So, since I wanted to set the game in Sweden, I knew that the Fenrir would be the right tribe for the players to be in, because the Fenrir are mostly spread out and mostly rule the Scandinavian and the Germanic regions, you know. And because of that, the Fenrir have this kind of Spartan thing where if these deformed children are born, they just, you know, dispose of them, they kill them, and they very severely punish the parents who produce such children. Meaning the metis, meaning the children that the union of two werewolves produced. That's why I didn't allow the players to play a character whose breed was metis, because they would have been killed. But yeah, so in the tribe section in this game, in this campaign, for you, it's going to be Fenrir. But you know, for anybody else, you know, there's multiple different choices in the book. But for us, it's Fenrir. Okay. After that, we move on to the right from there, and on the upper right corner, there's the pack name, pack totem, and the concept. The pack name is something I already came up with for the game, because usually when I ask players if they want to come up with the name themselves, they usually ask the game master to come up with it themselves. Plus, you know, it's already existing pack in the setting, so it's going to be, the pack name is War Hearts, and that's what you write there. And when it comes to the pack totem, right under it, that's something that we will not fill out yet, because that's something, that's which powerful spirit has your pack sworn allegiance to. And that's something that we need to go through with all the players and come up with something everybody wants, because we just can't go and choose what the pack totem is going to be and then just have the other players settle for that, because, you know, that's where we need to use diplomacy. But yeah, in terms of the pack totem, if you swear allegiance to a powerful spirit, you know, very powerful spirit, not like the cuckoo bird spirit, for example, who was in the prelude, but something that has like dominion over large areas and who has servants under it and all that sort of stuff. They will give you their blessings. If you swear allegiance to a totem, they will require certain things from you. They might require behavior from you or rituals from you, like never run away from a battle if you have sworn allegiance to some spirit of war, or never lie, never show weakness to someone who's beneath your status, or never kill this certain specific kind of animal, or always give thanks after this and that. They might have something like that, you know, that they demand you in exchange for their blessings, where they give you additional powers and abilities for your service. But we will return to that afterwards, before the actual campaign starts. And the concept after that is your character's concept, basically. It's something that the books usually tell you to start from if you're coming up with an idea for your character, because that could be, you know, like that's basically what your character is. If you think about movies, you could be like an unhinged taxi driver, or cocaine addicted mafia enforcer, or something like that. You know, that sort of thing is what you write down on the concept. So, do you have any ideas, Rogier, about Curious Minds character
Uh,
class?
I want her to be a bridge builder.
Okay, that's a good thing to bring to write there. So you're aiming to be like a diplomatic type.
Yeah, between the spirits and the groom.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay, that's a good concept right there. A bridge builder. Okay, then we move on one section below. We go into attributes. And attributes are put into three different categories. There's the physical attributes, the social attributes, and the mental attributes. These are very basic qualities about anyone, and they all range from 1 to 5 in how great they are. In the physical, you have strength, dexterity, and stamina. In social, you have charisma, manipulation, and appearance. And in mental, you have perception, intelligence, and wits. Each of these are from 1 to 5, and each of them have already one dot in them. Because if you would have strength of 0, you would basically be wheelchair bound, like Stephen Hawking or something like that. And if your intelligence would be like 0, you would have an underdeveloped brain or something of that sort. So
Hodor.
each of so each of these has to be at least 1 when you start. And of course 1 is the weakest a human can be without being um, an invalid or something like that, and 5 is the absolute maximum. If the physically weakest person you know is strength 1, and the world champion, world's strongest man competition winner is strength 5, that's the range we're going with. So yeah, how this works is you get 3 clumps of numbers. You get 7, 5, and 3. Then you go around and you spread them. You decide which one of these 3 categories is going to get 7 points in them, which one of these 3 categories is going to get the 5 points in them, and which one of these categories is going to get the 3 points. And then you just spread them amongst each other.
Yeah, exactly. So, seeing as the name already mentions it, my character has a curious mind. So she will constantly be trying to learn things. So her mental attribute group will be the first one, and I will divide 7 points into that. And now I come to a small dilemma because the first 6 are easy because I'm gonna put 2 into each category. So I will have a 3 score on all the perception, the intelligence, and the wits. And now I need to put in 1 more dot. And from one point, I want her to be smart, intelligent, but I also want her to be perceptive because her perception of the world is what is her main input for her intelligence. She sees things and she wants to learn things. So I'm thinking at this point I'm gonna put it in perception, and probably when I build up XP and that sort of stuff, the perception her intelligence 4 will flow forth from her higher perception score.
Okay, that sounds very good, and also the one that I would have picked as well, if I would have been in that same position. So in that case, you've spread the 7 points in the mental attributes. So you have perception of 4, intelligence of 3, and wits of 3.
Yes.
So your character is very smart.
Yes.
Then, what about social and physical attributes? Which one gets the 5 points and which one gets the 3 points?
Yeah, that's a much harder choice, of course. The 7 points is usually easy because it clearly focuses where your character goes on to, and her social and physical things. I'm leaning more towards social because she is a pack animal and that sort of stuff, and is known, enjoys spending time with people and talking to people and that sort of stuff. However, she's also born as a wolf. So her physical attributes, I mean, that would mean that she would have 3 dots to spend into that.
Yes,
And
but there is this one thing that when you are filling the character sheet, you fill it as if you were a human,
yeah,
because there is a section where it shows when you're in wolf form how much it gives you pluses and minuses on different skills and attributes, you know. So that's reflective on this. So fill it as if you're seeing your character as a human, you know.
yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna have her be social second,
Okay.
and I'm gonna have her. I think it's gonna be fun to have her like a bit flawed in social, because she is such an open-minded person. She still hasn't really gotten the hang of manipulation. So manipulation is still, well, not an alien concept to her, but she still doesn't get it, and she still doesn't see the value in it and that sort of stuff. So I'm gonna have her have a manipulation score of 1.
Okay.
So she's like very much wanting to believe everybody and understand them in face value.
Yeah, she's young, inexperienced, and naive in that
Yeah,
way.
exactly. So I'll have her have an appearance of 3, because I always want my characters to be attractive. But I'll give her a charisma of 4, because she is her open-mindedness and that sort of stuff, and her honesty makes her a very likable person, and easy to relate to and easy to open up to.
Yeah, and also in the prelude, a lot of different werewolves were reacting very positively to you. Know after they found out that you were North Star's child, you know. So there's already like a lot of werewolves are reacting very positively to you. So it makes sense that your character has a high charisma. If you would have chosen to take the charisma to like a 1, then it would be maybe their reaction was misinformed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it could have just been the first impression because of my high pure blood rating, that sort of stuff,
Yeah.
and not talking to me. But now that they talk to me, I hope they'll also be like, oh well, she's not just a nice person, but not just a highborn or more or less, but also a good person to be around.
Yeah. Okay, then we go into the physical attributes, and you only have 3 points to
Yeah,
spread among.
3 points. There's so few. So I'm just gonna divide it equally amongst all of them. So physically, she's just average. She has an average strength, an average dexterity, and an average stamina. I mean,
Yeah.
it's going to be. I could go the power play route and go like, no, I'm gonna put most of it in dexterity because that's what you usually use in combat, and when I change shape, I'm gonna boost up my strength anyway. So, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna have her be like a standard physical fit person.
Yeah, that's the thing. When these things are from 1 to 5, the middle one, the 3, is not the average. 2 is the average. 1 is below average. 3 is above average. 4 is like professional level of something like that, and then 5 is like the best you can be. So yeah, it's having something at 2 is the average.
I do have a point on that, however, but that's a completely different discussion.
No.
seeing as everybody creates their character, pretty much everybody can create a character with a 5 in their things. So that would mean that just our little pack would have world specialist kind of things on something. And it's always a bit like, yeah. And always, also, if you come across bad guys, they usually have like a skill in 3, 4, maybe even 5 or higher. And you go like, wait, so you're the best at what there is in the entire world? What the?
Yeah. But what are you gonna do? It's a
Those
role
are
playing
rules.
game.
Those
Come
are
on,
rules.
man.
So never mind. Yeah.
Okay, but now that the attributes are done, we're going to move one section lower into abilities. And just like with the attributes, the abilities are spread into three categories of talents, skills, and knowledges. Talents are innate abilities that you can teach yourself to be good at, like athletics or alertness and stuff like that. Stuff like that that's innate in you that uh, you can just train. Skills are things that have to be taught to you. Things like shooting a bow or riding a horse. Things like that that you need to have been tutored into. And knowledges are just that. They're things that you've had to learn from a book or by listening someone tell you things. And here, just like with the attributes, you get three clumps of points to spread for these categories. And in this case, you get a 13, 9, and 7. And unlike with the attributes, these don't have one dot in every one of them because you can have 0 of horseback riding, because if you've never trained in that type of thing, and once we're done with this, I'll explain how the attributes and abilities work in game terms together. And one other thing is that at this stage of character creation, none of your abilities can be higher than 3. Only after everything is filled and you use your freebie points that we'll get into later, you can get abilities higher than 3. That's simply something to reflect the beginning level character thing, where you're just a youngster. You're basically recently only hit your puberty type of thing. So 3 is the maximum at this point in every ability. So how are you planning to spread these 13, 9, and 7?
I'm thinking that again because she is mentally the strongest. Though I have a question on that because I'm born lupus. I believe there are some restrictions on the knowledges things I can take.
Yeah, but I call bullshit on that
Oh.
because we've gone through your during after your prelude and before the actual campaign starts, you're being tutored by these other werewolves all the time. So it's not a stretch at all that somebody's like, "Hey, here's a book. Let's read it. I'll teach you to read it," type of thing. So I don't. Same with if somebody's born a human, they have restrictions in talents having to do with getting a scent or hunting and that sort of thing. That's very animalistic thing. But again, if they've gone through their first change and they've gone through their rite of passage, they've had the time to train, in those. So I won't have those restrictions in this
All
one.
right, excellent. Good to know. Other players, remember this. We have it on video. So I'm most likely going to have the chunk 13 go into knowledge.
There are
And
some things, however,
yeah.
something like, let's say, academics, unless you've gone to an actual school, you wouldn't know academics.
Okay,
That's
then I have a linked on questions. Has my character been able to learn how to read?
yeah, sure. You can be yeah. The,
Does that fall under academics or doesn't it?
uh,
Or is it like not some in a certain skill you need?
I would say In that case, I will allow you to take Academics 1. If Academics 1 would make you literate, then I will allow it, because that's something that somebody could have easily taught you during this 1 year period of your rite of passage.
Okay, excellent. Because in the Dark Ages, illiteracy and is still is a huge. It's not like a strange thing, like, oh wow, you can't read. What the hell?
Yeah, usually people like monks and priests and people who are, religious schoolers. They usually are the keepers of that knowledge, and also like highborn people who have gotten monks and priests and such to teach their kids and themselves, about this stuff. It's uh, that's why most of the books in the medieval times are written by monks. That's one of the duties that the monks had in that time, where they're basically like stuck in a library copying books. It's
Yeah.
a horrible existence.
Oh man. But
Yeah.
usually a safe one, unless the Vikings come by.
Yeah. And you can imagine the terror of seeing a library burn, that's generations upon generations of work. Like, no! But yeah.
So definitely the 13 is going into knowledge. So the first ones that immediately jump out at me are, she's going to have an academics of 1 because she knows how to read. Steel Cave, was it Steel Cave or?
Yeah.
Steel Cave. Yeah, Steel Cave probably taught her that. I want to give her an enigmas because of her curious mind. She likes puzzles and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and also enigmas is what you use to interpret the spiritual stuff when they are like if you would have had enigmas when in the prelude you came to the lake and the area around it was all muddy and swamp-like and there was a sulfuric smell in the air. You could have made a roll for enigmas to try and figure out what it means.
Excellent. So that's a good choice. So enigmas definitely. Heart's wisdom, from what I know, is like the shamanic wisdoms that medicine women and that sort of stuff have.
Yeah, and it's
correct?
also because academics are, so rare in the medieval times. The hearth wisdom is something where that kind of compensates for that. That somebody can be very knowledgeable and smart and all that without having to ever been an academic,
Yeah. So medicine, of course, jumps out. She was extremely fascinated by the fact that we were able to heal that sort of stuff and things, and medicine in its completeness has gripped her because usually she's used to when a wolf gets hurt and badly hurt, he dies, and there's nothing you can do about it. And medicine is like this magical thing to her, at least in the beginning. Occult, because she loves everything spiritual and that sort of stuff, and rituals. So those are the things that jump out. Now, what I'm doubting on is investigation, because again, she's curious. But the feeling I have with investigation is more like it's like, oh, something happened here. Let's figure out what actually happened.
Yeah, the investigation is a stat that gets used quite commonly because that's basically looking for clues. If you go into like you said, like you're in a crime scene, you try to look for clues and you roll investigation, and then you find that the victim has something under his fingernails or something. You get a really good success. That type of thing.
So that's something I want to. I'm doubting on because it does fit her character, but I'm already having. I could probably put a dot into everything. Law is something I'm not really wanting to give her because is this just werewolf law or human law or law in general?
Law in general, encompassing both werewolf law, human law, but that's more of that's like being a shaman, that's something that people don't usually come to you for problems having to do with the law. That's more of a philodox
Exactly.
thing.
So that's something. Linguistics is also she's just happy she can be able to communicate with things. Will I need a linguistics of one to be able to speak to humans?
Yeah, you will need one of linguistics to know Swedish.
Then I'll take one of linguistics. That's pretty useful to have. And politics again is a no-go because joining in with her open-mindedness and that sort of stuff, she's not really into politics and just believes everybody who tries to get along. And so why would we need politics?
Yeah, that's good.
So academics I'll leave at 1, and linguistics I'll definitely leave at 1. So I now got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 already. Man.
Only
So,
6 left.
so enigmas is definitely going to 2. Heart's wisdom is going to 2. Medicine is going to 2. What exactly? Where does the boundary lies between occult and rituals?
Occult is basically knowledge about supernatural things in the world. Mostly meaning in this sense, because I'm not gonna use too much of other World of Darkness creatures, so you don't have to if like go through Vampire Dark Ages and be like, oh, that now I have this knowledge if my character has high occult. It's like there's in one source book there's, for example, an extra knowledge called called worm lore, and that's like, okay, that's stuff that you could just encompass in occult, that you know about these supernatural creatures and stuff. You know what fomori are. You know all these sort of details about all these different creatures. In the spirit world, and all these kind of antagonists around that are linked to the realm of supernatural, basically.
Okay, excellent.
But and rituals is about the actual rituals of werewolf society. The in-game terms, the as the higher your rituals ability is, the tougher rites you can learn or are able to do. Rites like, dancing around a pyre with a dream catcher and singing songs in praise of spirits in order to get an effect out of it. It's much more of a role play thing and about the werewolf society and all that sort of stuff. Than actual being like a really powerful superpower or something. But it's very like, it gives a lot of flair to the whole thing. So yeah, rituals.
I got a clear feeling on that. So I'm at this point I've decided to have my occult on 1 because so far she knows quite a bit about werewolf and that sort of stuff, and she learned a lot of things. But she's definitely going to have to learn more about it. So her occult is going to be on 1. Her rituals is going to be on 2 because she spent a lot of time with the shaman here. And the only 2 skills that she's going to have on 3 is enigmas and medicine.
Okay, cool. That's a clear kind of pathway of where you want to specialize in, or at least focus on.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, then you have 2 categories left: skills and talents, and you have 9 and 7.
Yes, exactly. So 9 will definitely go into talents because she is a person of a high-born blood and that sort of stuff, and will have certain things come natural to her. Okay. So definitely I'm going to want alertness, and definitely athletics. She'll have some brawl, some dodge. Oh man, there's so many I want. Empathy. Expression is not really something that she needs. Intimidation also not something that she's big in. Ledger domain. doesn't even know how to spell it, and Primal Urge, definitely. So those are the ones that she needs. Subterfuge is also something she is oblivious to.
Yeah, and I will just, as a personal little peeve here, the whole legerdemain talent is like, it feels very filler type of thing. Like the book says that it's about like things like pickpocketing or juggling and things like that, where you need like very very quick and accurate and dexterous hands, you know. But honestly, if you were pickpocketing someone, I would have you roll stealth more than this. And if you were doing like a juggling thing, I would have you roll performance rather than this. So it's just if somebody decides to take this talent, then of course I'll have them roll that. But you know, none of the other, like, why isn't there a legerdemain in Werewolf the Apocalypse that's set in the modern day? You know, if we were playing in the modern day, I would have you roll, you know, stealth or performance in those examples instead of legerdemain. You know, so yeah, I just wanted to air that.
Okay, I hear you.
Yeah.
So I've got alertness, athletics, brawl, dodge, empathy, and primal urge. And I'm going to raise primal urge at least to 2, and my empathy also to 2 because she's big on talking to people, getting a sense of their feeling and that sort of stuff. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I got 1 point left, and hard. Where should I put it? Wow, this is a hard one.
Since you're wolf-born, I would personally just I would want to use the opportunity to get a lot of primal urge, because I do know that John's character is going to be a human-born character, and I have no idea yet what Phil intends to make his character. So if you wind up being the only wolf-born, that would be also something that you would most likely have more than the other characters.
Then primal urge it is. All right.
And
So
primal urge is what you use to get a scent and hunt and all these instinct-based, you know, animalistic features.
yeah, exactly.
And then we only have the final category of skills, and we have only that final clump of 7 points to put into that.
I thought it was 5. Yeah, 5.
Oh, then I messed up. So it's 5.
No, yeah, I'm fine with 7, but
Yeah. Okay. 5.
5. So here again, I'm running across this thing that is not extremely clear to me. Animal Ken, for a person that is born as a wolf. I mean, for me, Animal Ken is knowing how to deal with animals and that sort of stuff and things. So I would say that would come natural, and that would be something I could also roll my primal urge on.
No, that's kind of a different thing, because Animal Ken is like the sort of thing like somebody who works in the stables, or somebody who works in the kennels, somebody who you know, who handles animals, like if you think about an animal trainer type of thing. You know, even though you're as smart as a human being, you know, while being a wolf, the others aren't, and they're driven by instinct mostly. So you will need to know if you want to handle a horse. Just by being born a wolf, you don't know how to make a horse do what you want it to do, you know,
Okay.
and that sort of thing, yeah.
And I pretty much have the same thing with survival.
Survival is also, since you're very young and you've always been dependent on your pack throughout your life, survival is pretty much, if you're thrown on your own, do you can you hunt alone? Can you forage on your own? Can you navigate when you're lost in the woods, alone?
Okay. All
That
right.
sort of thing.
But I would think because of, having a high primal urge rate, I would be able to, because, wolves hunt in packs because they need a group to bring down a larger animal. And if I just go into my large wolf form, I can easily bring down one deer or something.
Yeah, that's true. But I could always have them run away or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I would be faster, but never mind. So,
Not
um,
when you have what is it, like stamina of two? I don't know.
I don't have it in that form, so. But anyway, I'll give her a survival of at least one, and because there are not a lot of things that I think that she will need. So survival of one is easy. Um, etiquette is etiquette just something for high society kind of way how to behave, or old society?
Well, it is all society in a sense, but it's I would say perhaps in terms of werewolves, it's very much having to do with the uh, it's about getting the respect of your peers kind of thing through your behavior because for example werewolves just like wolves can challenge the leaders and can challenge those above them and that sort of thing. There's many different like things where when you can challenge someone above you, who can challenge who, and all these different things, having to do with all sorts of social contracts that werewolves kind of have with each other. These kind of unspoken things where everybody knows that, you don't just go around and challenge somebody who's like this and this much higher, in rank than you and that sort of stuff. So,
All right.
um, so it is something that might be useful. It is most useful for people who negotiate and delegate with others, where they must earn their respect through their behavior and all that.
Excellent. I
So
got you. I got you. So I'm going to give her a crafts of one. Her curiosity and stuff, and wanting to know how things work doesn't just limit to social and personal things, but she's also curious about how things are built and that sort of stuff. So she has a basic knowledge of how things are built. She will have an etiquette of two because she believes it's important to treat things right and understand what's important to certain people in certain moments. And she'll have a leadership of one because of her high blood and that sort of stuff, and dealing with all the set leader of the pack leaders. She'll It'll rub off on her, and she's taken a great thing about great things are expected of her. So she knows how to deal with people, how to get them motivated to do stuff, and she'll have a survival of one.
okay, that sounds nice. Um, and also, just like in your prelude, you were, using basically, you were trying to learn crafting a lot,
Yeah.
and so that really fits well. And also, uh, many of these characters that you've ran into have had all sorts of fetishes, all sorts of little trinkets and stuff like that that must have piqued your interest and that sort of thing. So it's a good thing that you took crafts for Curious Mind. Um, so now I will simply explain in a quick term, how attributes and abilities actually work and why they are made this way that they are. Whenever you attempt something in game and you have to roll for it, you roll something from your attributes and abilities combined. If, for example, you're trying to run really fast, you look at your stamina. Okay, if your stamina is like 2, you take 2 dice. And then you look at your ability that fits the running as well, and you take your athletics. Let's say your athletics is 3, then you take that 3 dice. Together, that's 5 dice, and then you roll that 5 dice to see whether or not you succeeded in running really fast or very long or whatever. And when you roll a die, there's a difficulty. The common difficulty is 6. So of those 5 dice that you rolled, every single die that's 6 or higher is considered a successful die. And let's say you roll those 5 dice, and 3 of those dice were 6 or higher. That would mean you get 3 successes on your roll. And in the way to determine your success rate is the same as all these abilities, 1 to 5. So having 3 successes is above average success in whatever you are attempting. If you would have gotten 5 successful dice, that would have mean it worked out perfectly, exactly like you attempted to come out. And if you only get like 1 success, that's like you barely made it. If you get no successes, then it simply didn't work out. And if you got no successes but got a 1, one of those dice turned out to be a 1, you fail, and you fail in a way that is harmful, not perhaps physically harmful, but where, for example, if you're trying to get a motor running, you might actually snap off the cord of that motor or something like that. You know, you botch your roll. Now, why I want to mention this as well is because, like, attributes can't have a 0 count in them. Because that would, like I described, have you be like completely disabled physically or mentally or whatever. When an ability is 0, that means you have no training in it, and you will only have to roll the attribute. In that running example, if your character is a complete couch potato who has 0 athletics, but he has at least that 1 of stamina, and he attempts to run really fast, he only gets to take that attribute, and since there's nothing to take from that ability, since it's 0, he only has that attribute die to roll. And when you roll only the attribute die, when you don't have any of the ability, the difficulty is going to be higher. The regular difficulty was 6. Like every die you rolled that was 6 or higher was a successful die. When you roll only an attribute, the difficulty is raised really high, something like an 8 or something like a 9. We're rolling 10-sided dice, by the way. So it's much more difficult to attempt something you have no training in, but it's possible. It's just very unlikely, and very unlikely to end up as a perfect, perfect outcome. You know. Now that that's out of the way, we can move on, and we can go into advantages. Right below abilities is advantages, and the first thing in advantages is your character's backgrounds. Now, backgrounds are things that happened in your character's background in terms of the prelude, his rite of passage, his past life while he was still either a wolf or a human, you know, and that sort of things. It's stuff that you can't buy with experience points because it is, in fact, your character's background. You can't just train to have a stronger background or something. It's something that comes through role play in the gameplay itself and things that you put there in character creation stage. So, when it comes to backgrounds, you have 5 points to spend there. In the book, there's a list of different backgrounds you can pick to put in there and to give the amount of dots in that you wish. But from the start, you have 5 points to use. Now, I will remind everyone that after the entire character sheet is filled, you still have a bunch of freebie points that you can still tweak and raise things here and there. So don't think that if the 5 points here or the abilities and that sort of stuff is absolutely final. There's still a stage where you get to tweak those. So at this point, with the 5 points, when it comes to your characters' backgrounds, there's a couple of things that pop into mind based on the events in your prelude. But what sort of ideas have you got of your own?
Well, like you said, some of the prelude are already quite clear. I mean, I could screw you over and just not take pure breed, but I'm not going to do that. My mother is clearly a prominent member of the pack, so I definitely want to take pure breed. So I come from a line of wolves and werewolves that are known and respected, maybe even feared, but at least they have made a name for themselves, and so the blood running through my veins is pure. I also wanted to take mentor because of the great connection that I have with my mother, and I also wanted to at least take ally because of the cuckoo bird. That is
Actually, that's the more fitting background for the cuckoo bird is the familiar spirit than an ally.
oh, okay.
And that's actually something that's not in the core book. That's something you can find in the player's guide. But it's much more fitting than the ally background.
Okay, so familiar spirit. There we go. I'll have that, and those are at least the three core things that I would want. So I've got 5 points.
Yeah, in the terms of how we played the prelude, all of those three were 3 points of value. The North Star as your mentor, her influence in the werewolf society that you're living in is of such worth that she would be considered a mentor of 3 points value. And your pure breed is also something where, based on the amount of respect that you've garnered purely through your pedigree of whose family line you come from, that's also something that I would consider to be of the value of 3. And when it comes to the familiar spirit of the cuckoo bird, that's also something where 3 is the appropriate value, because when it's 2, for example, it can barely speak, and you would mostly have to use body language and maybe learn some sort of a telepathic connection with it. But the level of communication and intellect that the cuckoo bird showed, it needs to be of third level.
All right.
But because that's
going
9 points in total already, that's just something we're going to have to, kind of leave be and return to when you use the freebie points after the whole sheet is filled.
Exactly, because I can already have that many points spent.
Yeah.
All right, excellent.
Okay, well,
and I might even have to put some extra freebie points in there because of our totem spirit of the pack totem spirit. But that's something we'll get back to.
Yeah, its backgrounds are perhaps the cheapest thing to buy with freebie points, and that's also good because it encourages you to not have to steer away from character aspects. That backgrounds are very closely tied to who your character is, where does he come from, what sort of a social status does he have, and that sort of stuff. So it's good that they're so cheap that basically you won't have to oh, I can't play a character like this because there's just not enough points. But let's move on to the next thing and return to this later on.
Yeah.
The next thing is your gifts. And gifts are supernatural powers that all werewolves have. By the time that you've finished your rite of passage, you will know at least 3. And that's the amount that you're given in character creation at first. But these are again things that you can buy with freebie points if you want more. You will have a gift that's tied to your character's breed of you being born a wolf. You will have a gift that's tied to your auspice, your role in the werewolf society, which is to be the shaman. And the third one will be tied to your character's tribe, which is the Fenrir. Since when the game starts, you're all rank 1 werewolves. You are Cleoths. Basically, that you are the young up-and-comers in the werewolf society. You are restricted to only take level 1 supernatural gifts.
Yeah.
So, do you have any ideas?
I'm thinking about my lupus gift. I wanted to take heightened sense.
Okay, that's good.
So I'm just gonna fill that in.
Heightened senses. So that's like the name implies. That's something where you're perceptive and alertness and those type of abilities are. Your difficulty in your die roll is going to be lower. It's going to be much easier for you to spot somebody out there who's stalking you, or it's going to be much easier to sense a prey that's close by, and all these different things.
Mm-hmm. So, and then we come to the harder part, because the Surge have wonderful powers. So Mother's Touch would be the most prominent one that I would think it would suit her.
Mm-hmm.
However, Spirit Speech is also something that I would think would be wonderful for her. So, just to tease myself and her, I will have her have Spirit Speech instead of Mother's Touch.
Okay. But then again, you can return to that later and see if you want to use the freebie points to get the other gift as well.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but yeah, the spirit speech. Not all spirits, definitely not all spirits, are powerful enough to even speak. Many of them are on the level of animals, basically. So speaking to them in this way is almost like telepathic. Kind of like communicating with animals and such. So it's a very useful gift, and since spirits are very abundant in the spirit world, there's a lot to communicate with there. And also because this is not a gift that every werewolf knows, it's again something where other werewolves will have to turn to you, the shaman, to be the intermediary between spirits and the rest of you guys.
Exactly.
And then there's the Fenrir, the tribe gift that's still looming there.
Yeah, and when hunting, wolves communicate through various means to corral there. This gift allows the prisoner to convey thoughts to any of his packmates. Yeah, so she's going to have Hunter's Harmony.
Hunter's Harmony. I can't remember what that actually does.
So it allows me to non-verbally communicate to my pack members while we're hunting.
Oh, okay, that sounds very useful. You can stay silent and and still have full-on conversations.
Exactly. So we don't have to go like, you go left, you go right, no. So
that's good. Okay. Then you have your 3 gifts there, and as you can see, there's lots of room in the character sheet for gifts, because that's something that people tend to like to pick up with experience points and with during the game as it goes on, because there's an endless variety of gifts to be taken, because each gift is something a specific spirit teaches you. In the book, under every gift, it mentions this gift is taught by the owl spirit, or the iguana spirit or the spirit of war type of stuff, you know. And that basically means that in game terms you have to seek these spirits out and make a deal with them, or you know, whatever you can to make them teach you these supernatural gifts. So there's an endless supply. Every source book has a bunch of new gifts, and you can make them up as well with the game master and that sort of thing. So after that, we move forward, and then we go into the lower left corner here, where there's the thing called Renown. And Renown is it's basically your social level of respect inside your pack, inside your community, in the eyes of werewolves and in the eyes of spirits as well. And that's spread into three categories of your glory, your honor, and your wisdom. When you do things that are glorious, you will gain more glory, and when you do things that, like, you know, run during battle and that sort of thing, your glory will diminish. And the same thing with honor, doing honorable and dishonorable things, and wisdom, learning new things, or you know, doing something that's against the you know, wisdom of werewolves and all that sort of stuff. And based on how much you gain or lose those renown stats, you will raise in rank. So it's kind of like a level in many other games. In order to gain level, you have to gain enough of a specific renown, whether it's glory, honor, or wisdom. And that's based on what your role in the society is. You know, nobody needs a shaman who's extremely glorious but not wise at all. You need to be. You need wise shamans. You know.
Oh, wait,
so,
can I change my dots then?
so in the beginning, each level tells you if you're of this auspice, of this role in the society. Your beginning renown stats are this, and to reach the second tier, you need to have it at this height. You know, so since you are a shaman, a third, you don't need any points in glory, and you don't need any points in honor. You only need 3 points in wisdom to be on the first level, the first rank, the Kliath.
Yeah,
rank.
so these are those square boxes underneath. Those are permanent points.
Yeah, the square boxes are the permanent ranks, and the dots, the circles above them, are the things that you fill or erase based on your actions. And once it's gone up to 10, it transfers into a one permanent box. So that sort of thing. And for you, in order to get yourself raised to the second rank of Fostern, you would need to get your wisdom raised from 3 to 5, and your glory from 0 to 1. And then you would be respected enough in those terms to be acknowledged as a rank 2 Fostern, you know, werewolf. So that's basically the amount that we need to get into that at this point. Only 3 in wisdom, and the rank in the very bottom, you just write 1 or write Kliath or something like that there.
Sounds good.
Okay. Then after that, next to it, there's rage, gnosis, and willpower. And those, I'm going to need to pull out the book for that, because that's, again, something that's based on your character's tribe, auspice, and breed. Your rage is basically, it's a power. Based on your role, like warriors have more rage than, for example, shamans, who are much more reserved and much more patient and wise. Rage is basically it's one of the basic werewolf superpowers. It's you gain dots in rage whenever you're infuriated, when someone humiliates you, when you get when you get hurt really bad, when you go without food, when you're caged into a cage, you gain rage, and when you gain rage, you have to roll dice to see whether or not you lose your shit and flip out and start to frenzy and attack everything around you. That's one of the most dangerous things about werewolves, that they can just snap and they can just, go crazy and attack things that are right next to them. So rage is used as a power in the sense that you can use those rage dots to give yourself additional actions within your turn in combat. Like, if everybody's doing just one action in their turn, and then when it's their turn again, they do just one action, you can use rage points and do multiple actions in one turn because you're just, it's just the power of flipping outness that you're dispensing on your enemies. So that's important. Your gnosis is basically your kind of like your chi energy. It's like your spiritual essence. It's what you use to activate supernatural gifts most of the time. It's what you use to open that gap in the gauntlet, the fabric of reality, to step sideways to go into the spirit world and back from the spirit world, and that's something you gain through meditation and such. So that's important. And then finally there's the willpower. And willpower is exactly what it sounds like. It's something where that you gain when you role play your character according to your character's personality when it comes to dramatic situations, such as, if your character is at a very fragile point, or there's something that's happened to someone they care about and stuff, if you've made your character to be very selfish, or if you've made your character to be very very honor bound and dutiful, or anything like that, and then you act accordingly and role play that well, you're going to be rewarded with willpower points. There are other ways to get it throughout game as well, and since it's been such a long time since I've had even players who don't role play all the time their characters correctly. That's kind of like it's kind of like a way to reward good role play. If there's players who don't really like to role play, that's a way to entice them into role playing well by rewarding them with willpower points. But I've never had that problem here because Rogier is a great player, he role plays, so I don't need to separately reward good role play because I would be rewarding him constantly.
So wait, I'm being punished for being a good role player?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll have to go through this again. But yeah, willpower points are used, again, like sometimes you need to use them to use some supernatural abilities. You can use a willpower point to restrain yourself from flipping out when you're about to frenzy, like a lunatic, and you can roll willpower to try and keep your faculties straight if somebody's trying to affect your mind, and all these sort of different things. And you can also spend a point of willpower to gain one automatic successful die when you're rolling for something. When there's an important thing, like you're holding onto the hand of somebody who's like dropping from a ledge or something, you really, really don't want them to die, you can spend a willpower point to like extra boost you pulling them up, and that sort of thing. So that's all the points of those things. Now, the amounts you're going to have in them. Since you're born a lupus, that means that your initial gnosis is going to be 5.
Woohoo!
Which is the highest. Being born an animal means that you're much more connected to the world and to your instincts and to the kind of natural order of things, as opposed to like being born a human or something. And since your auspice is a third, your initial rage is only 2. Because again, you're a shaman, you're supposed to be much more reserved and wise and patient rather than a lunatic, you know. And because your tribe is the Fenrir, your initial willpower is 3. Okay. Now that we got that out of the way, we've pretty much gone through the filling out the character sheet there because the thing that's so difficult. God.
What? Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. There, in the very lower right corner. Oh, impossible! In the very right, lower right corner, there's your health. That's something you don't feel in character creation. That's only something you keep a note of when combat occurs and when you get damaged. There's levels of health you have, and based on the level that you're on, at the moment there's minus numbers there, which means that if you're rolling normally for that running thing that we used as an example earlier, you're rolling 5 dice. If you're hurt bad enough where you'll have to -2, that means you're taking 2 of those dice away, and you only roll 3 dice when you're attempting something because you're hurt so bad. So at this point, we get to the long-awaited freebie points, and I'm gonna grab the book here to see what costs how much. Here it is. Here's the list of different things that you can buy with freebie points and their cost. You will have 15 points of freebie points to spend, but different things cost different amounts of freebie points. For example, those backgrounds that we talked about, you needing to have more of them, they only cost 1 point to get 1 point. So if you have 15 freebie points, you could technically get 15 more background points with that. But something like an attribute is going to cost 5 freebie points. So you could only get 3 extra attribute points after this character creation stage. An ability would cost 2 points. So since you could only raise an ability at this point to number 3, at this point you can buy it to be at 4 or 5, and that ability will cost 2 points. Backgrounds, yeah, I mentioned that. Gifts, those supernatural gifts will cost 7 freebie points per supernatural gift. A dot in rage will cost only 1 point. A dot in gnosis will cost 2 points, and a point in willpower will cost 1 point. So I think the most important thing that we came across in the character creation that were really in the need of freebie points were the backgrounds and the gifts, because in the backgrounds you already had 3 things that you wanted that were worth 3. So that's 9. So after spending the 5 points you were given for your backgrounds, you still have 4 points to spend on that to get those 3. And if you want that supernatural gift, that Mother's Touch gift that you mentioned, that's going to cost 7 points. So that's already 11 points, leaving you with 4 points still remaining. And since you mentioned that you might want to take that totem spirit later on, once all the players have agreed on what totem spirit they're going to have their pack dedicated to, you might want to reserve those 4 points for later on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm thinking about Mother's Touch because it's a great thing to have, but immediately giving it to my character will be a huge reward for her. So I'm actually thinking about not buying it from freebie points.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea in terms of drama and story and character development. But also, it's since it's a rank 1 gift, it's something that you could, whenever you please, you could find a suitable spirit to teach it to you. So if there exists, we would have to check a, let's say, rank 2 gift that's also about healing. That could be perhaps an even better goal to try and attain, because you would have to work your ass off to first have the renown to rise to rank 2 so that you would be able to learn rank 2 gifts.
Exactly, exactly.
So
And
if there is a rank 2 gift about healing, that would be even better, and would still have the same idea you had about the
yeah,
attaining a
exactly.
goal.
Because having her already master that gift, it will take away pretty much the joy of well, joy is maybe a big word, but it'll take away some of the entertainment that I will get for her actually using her medicine a lot on things
Hmm.
and still being marveled at this wonder, because Mother's Gift is extremely powerful, I believe, as I read it. You can just like touch something and it pretty much heals itself.
Yeah.
So
And especially since werewolves have a healing factor, like, it's not exactly like something like Wolverine, but it's still something where it automatically heals you. When you're fighting in a combat, it heals 1 level of health per a combat turn. And a combat turn usually lasts something like, the average is like 3 seconds in game time. It takes 3 seconds for you to punch somebody into the face, and then be able to do something again in game terms. So that would mean that for most wounds, it's something that where medicine wouldn't be even that required, because you all just heal anyway. But if somebody is using a silver weapon or is biting into you with werewolf teeth and that sort of thing, it causes aggravated damage. And damage done by supernatural usually causes aggravated damage, just like the wounds that North Star got in her legs because of getting stabbed with that sharpened piece of bone that had a silver coating on the tip. She was lacerating into her legs with that, and healing 1 health level of aggravated damage in the natural way takes an entire day. So that's something where the mother's touch would become very effective and useful. But like you said, it's also a very good goal to strive for.
yeah, just something that I was curious about, because I believe I read somewhere, but I might have gotten it wrong, that actually the only thing that really does aggravated damage to werewolves is silver.
Oh, okay. Well, I could have easily been misinformed because, for example, in Vampire the Masquerade, vampire bites cause
Yeah, yeah.
aggravated damage. But then again, vampires don't settle their disputes by biting on each other all the time. So, werewolves, they tend to have squabbles, and they tend to freak out and bite at each other's and wrestle around and, throw each other around. So if they would be doing aggravated damage every time they did that, all of werewolf kind would be dead. So
Yeah, so
that
I'm not
that
I'm not
makes sense.
100% sure, but that's something we need to check because it
Yeah, yeah,
might
definitely.
become important later on. So I'm of course definitely going to spend the 4 points on to get the pure breed of 3, the mentor of 3, and the familiar spirit of 3. So that will mean that I've spent 4 of the 15 freebie points.
Yeah, still 11 left.
Exactly. I would like her to have, because of her uh, pure breed, I would consider her to be the werewolf presence in her is strong. So I would like her to have a bit higher rage than just 2.
Okay.
So I
Um,
think 3 would be a nice rage level for her. Just
okay.
bit higher than your standard surge.
Okay, and a single point of rage costs only a single point of freebie points.
Exactly.
So you will still have 10 left after that.
There
So
you go.
okay, you have rage 3.
Yes. And I can also raise abilities above the 3 margin.
Mm.
So I'm thinking about giving her a primal urge of 4.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll give her a primal urge of 4.
That'll be 2 points. You have 8 left.
8
I
left.
feel like I'm a donut
Yeah.
salesman. Yeah, I'm gonna get a dozen donuts. I'll have 4 chocolate. You have 8 left.
Yeah. And I also want her to be a willful person, so I'll give her a willpower point extra.
Okay, a willpower point is also 1 point, so 7 points left.
7 points left. There we go.
And that's exactly the cost of a single gift. So this is your last chance if you want an extra
if you
gift.
go beneath this, then you're gonna be screwed. And I might actually look into some merits and flaws for her.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. That's let me see. I'll just shift the picture here because we're going to use the longer version of the character sheet. So there's like this is the second page where there's different things here on the side there, but there's also a further page that looks like this, where there's. God damn it! This is immensely difficult. This is why I was never accepted to Mensa, and and here's the merits and flaws, and they're exactly like you would expect. You can take flaws for your character and merits for your character, good and bad features for them, which will merits will cost freebie points, and flaws will give you more freebie points. But there's a limit. I always use a limit of how many flaws you can take, or how many freebie points worth of flaws I'm going to allow people to take, because it prevents power gaming. It prevents people from making their character completely like, well, if they come from the idea that they might want to make their character socially inept, why not also make them smelly, or have a speech impediment, or have this and have that and have this and have that, and all of a sudden they have like these godly powers but can't talk to girls. So it's like, oh, it's so I'll put the cap at let's say 8.
Okay. Well, I'm never gonna get that high because there's really just one merit that I want her to have, or what I think it would be cool for her to have. I would like her to have eidetic memory, so that she like really remembers everything she sees and that sort of stuff. But I can't really find it in the basic book, but it's probably there in many other books. How much merit points would you ask for that?
My God, I'm gonna have to check it. I'm gonna have to check it. Let's see. I have the or do I? I'm not sure if I have the Werewolf player's guide here. No, sorry. It seems that I used to, but I don't anymore. I'm sorry. It's something we're gonna have to come back to after we've checked it online or something.
I have the player's handbook here.
Oh, okay.
You send it to me, so.
Yeah. I guess I sent it to you and then deleted
it. Let me see. Dark Ages. Where is it?
The other pages that we have here that I'm being showing, they're pretty much just extra for anybody thinking that, oh, what? There's still 3 other pages to watch. You know, it's
What?
not. Yeah, it's just extra. Like the second page had just, okay, if you're gonna have like. If you're going to know rights, could you expand on what kind of rights? If you're going to have magic fetishes, can you expand what kind of fetishes? And here, just as well, it's like things like merits and flaws, and then like your expanded backgrounds, like you can explain what kind of a relationship you have with what the familiar spirit is like, and what your pure breed is like what the background is for that, and the mentor, who is that mentor? It's North Star, your mother, and that sort of thing. And then there's things like possessions and items and stuff like that. And then there's the final page of the 4-page character sheet, which looks like this, where there's character history and physical description of their age and sex and height and weight, and a character picture and that sort of stuff. These are all fun, but they're not necessary. The only necessary part is the first page. But since merits and flaws are not on the first page, that's why we're using the multiple page character sheet here.
I found the eidetic memory.
Okay.
It is a 2-point merit.
Okay. So if you had 7 points left and you take that, then yeah, 5.
So eidetic memory. Do I need to read out what it does, or?
Well, I'm pretty sure it pretty much that's self-explanatory. Yeah, you remember every name, number, symbol.
Exactly. So,
photographic memory, basically.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. So that's what I want, and then I have 5 left, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about saving those for the totem.
Yeah, because you never know if the totem you guys want to agree on is powerful enough where you will actually need that many points.
Exactly. So
it's always a fun role play aspect to it, to have a very powerful spirit, not because it gives you very powerful blessings, but because it gives you very demanding demands. So that's like a fun role play aspect to it, where you have to adhere to very strict demands from a powerful spirit. So that's always fun.
Yeah, so I might spend those on that. Other than that, I might decide to spend it in other background points. I'm thinking about I might want to give her a fetish, but that's not something that's like needs to be. So I might just
and also rights are good for a third, but again, if you whatever, depending on the totem thing seems to be a bit more important.
So then I come to the point where it asks for me to fill in the different stats in different shapes.
Oh, okay. Well, that's just simple, because it automatically says what the plus and the minus is.
Yeah. So I just already filled those in, so that's not a real point. It does also state that, which I find interesting to know at least, but I'm not really 100% sure how to calculate it. It asks for height and weight in my different shapes.
The other reaction was genuine there. It's you can feel that out whenever. That's something that you can figure out later on. Like let's not, so that this video won't take too long. So let's like have just the important stuff here. So this is the second page, and you saw the stuff that Rogier was talking about, is that the upper corner here has all the 5 werewolf forms on it. The human form that says no change. The Glabro form, which is the basically the Wolfman form that gives you strength +2, stamina +2, appearance -1, and manipulation -1. And then there's the Krinos form, which is the battle form, the 9-foot tall monster form that gives you strength +4, which is insanity, and dexterity is that minus or +1, and stamina +3, and manipulation -3, and appearance is 0. Now it also says that it causes delirium in humans, meaning that when a human, a regular person, sees a werewolf that's in that form, they just lose their shit. They're like, "Ah, ah, ah," go hysterical, running away, that sort of thing. And because they're so hysterical, when they come, in contact with other people, and they're like, "Ah, I saw a werewolf! I saw a werewolf!" It's very likely people don't take them that seriously. But since it's the medieval times, the book makes a point to state that people are so superstitious at this point in time that it's not automatic. Like, people don't immediately fall into delirium once they see a Krinos. It's much harder for them to fall into delirium, and it's much more likely that other people will believe their story, about a werewolf.
It might not just be a werewolf. It might just see, I saw a demon.
Yeah, and also it's like in the modern day we have video cameras, but even if you video camera, film a werewolf, people still are going to be very skeptical. In the medieval times, all you need is a hearsay, a story, and people will already take that more seriously than that videotape in the modern day. So it's kind of risky. So and after that, there's the Jesus Christ. There's the Hispo form, the giant wolf that gives you +3 in strength, +2 in +3 in strength, +2 in dexterity, +3 in stamina. Manipulation is what is that? It's so small, -3 or something. And then the wolf form, it says live right on top of that, so I can't make it out.
Oh, the wolf form says, I have it here. The wolf form has strength +1, dexterity +2, stamina +2, manipulation -3, and you get a -2 perception difficulty.
Okay, that's
and
nice.
With the Hispo, you get a +1 die to bite damage.
Yeah. I will, however, state again something that I will want to clarify. Those minus rolls for manipulation, I only count them when it comes to humans. Like, if a human interacts with a wolf and you're like, come on, what's the worst that could happen? Come on, there's gonna be the -3. But since you're all werewolves, it doesn't make any sense why a werewolf will have trouble being manipulated by someone who's simply in a form. It's unless you're trying to deceive someone using facial expressions or something. But why couldn't you do that with wolf body language and stuff? So yeah, let's just not keep hold of that when it comes to other werewolves. So yeah, I think beyond that, it's all of the rest of the stuff is just expanded stuff. Like it says here on the other traits, that's like if you wanted to give your character an ability that wasn't on the list. Let's say if it's something very specialized, like if you want your character to be like a inventor, you might want to have a trait called science or technology, or if you want to be a very specific, like, specialist shaman, you might want to use that worm lore, like we mentioned earlier in the video, and stuff like that. But it's more of if you want to be very specific. And then the other stuff is just expanded information about stuff that's already on the first page. So I think we can end the video here so that it doesn't go on exceedingly long, especially since people are supposed to like learn by watching this, so it's better to not take part.
Excellent.
Okay, so Curious Mind is now has her character sheet filled, except for the pack totem, which we will settle uh, in our Facebook group.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our secret Facebook group. Ooh.
Yeah, that's only for people who have been given the brand. But yeah, that's it. I'm going to cut this broadcast off and, well, she.
Take care.